Well, hello! Welcome back to my channel. Joshana here to talk about my least favorite books that I read in 2021. I don't know why whenever I'm recording, I say the year so fucking enunciated. I don't do that in real life, I don't think, when I'm just talking. But I notice when I'm editing that every time I'm like 2022 or 2021. I don't know why. It's so fucking weird. As per usual, I explain this every year. I DNF very frequently, so it is rare that I will have very many 2-star reads, 1-star reads, really, really low ratings, because if I'm getting that feeling, like, oh, I kind of fucking hate this, I will typically just quit. I will give up. So I end up with a fair amount of like low 3-star ratings on my least faves. And that is the case again this year. There are a few that I rated 2.75, which on my scale, there's 2.75, 3, and 3.25 that all kind of are together and are like a similar vibe. It's just like 3.25 is like, it's a higher 3. And then 2.75 is like, I feel like it's a 3, but it's like a lower 3. So the 2.75s aren't necessarily books that I didn't like or hated or whatever. They're just ones that were like fine, but just didn't do a heck of a lot for me. So there's that little explanation. It's not really a disclaimer, it's just explaining it for you. I only have 7, so that's kind of fun. Love that. And there's really only 2 that I feel real passionately about. Well, maybe 3, but anyway, well, let's just get into it. Number 7 is Heart of Blood and Ashes by Mila Vane. This is a fantasy romance that was part of my fantasy romance deep dive. And yeah, it was fine. This was one that was a 2.75. There were elements that I didn't love. I just didn't get that invested in it. Overall, it was just very mediocre for me personally. Number 6, The Return to Kilumar by Kimberly Marafino. Again, 2.75. Nothing inherently wrong with this one. It was just young adult, and there were certain elements in like the dialogue a little bit that didn't always work for me, and I didn't get super invested in the characters again. It just, yeah, it was just very like, it was fine. It was good. Wasn't bad, but I just didn't feel that strongly about it. Number 5, getting into more of like, this one was a borderline 2.5, but I did still rate it 2.75. But like honestly, looking at it now, I'm like, I could probably just make this 2.5. This was a reread, but I left it on the list because I gave it a different rating than the first time I read it. Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. Yeah, I reread that trilogy this year, the Grishaverse. And I just, no. I unhauled it. just a big nopety nope. Love the TV show, the Netflix show. I think they changed all the shit that I didn't like from the series, the book series. So thumbs up, I will continue watching that show. But I will never read those fucking books ever again. Number 4, Heart of Fire by Amanda Bouchette. This one I did give 2.5. I have the first 2 books of the series still, but I actually unhauled this 3rd and final book in the trilogy, which maybe is weird, but I know I will never read it again. I might unhaul the second one too, but I really liked the first book. The first book of the series, it's fantasy romance, adult fantasy romance. I had so much fun. The male love interest was a little too aggressive once or twice, where I was like, okay, nope, that's a little much. But overall, I just thought it was so much fun. The main character, Kat, love her so much. But this 3rd book, not great. Just what in the ever-loving fuck. And the plot, we get to the end, and it was very much a feeling of, well, what the fuck was the point of all of that? So yeah, there's that. Just so disappointing. Another disappointment, another 2.5, Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. I had a NetGalley e-arc of this, and I was so fucking jazzed because I love House in the Cerulean Sea. This is another contemporary adult fantasy standalone, and promised the same whimsical, lovely vibes of House in the Cerulean Sea. And no. My biggest 2 issues with this were and this is not a spoiler, it's literally in the synopsis, that the main character, the whole premise is he dies and he has a little bit of time to try to cross over. He needs to cross over. And he's at this tea shop where the ferryman is, and there's a romance that buds between him and the ferryman. This fucking guy was a shitheel of a human. Just a greedy asshole bastard of a man. And I just didn't want to fucking read about this character that I'm supposedly, you want me to feel for him now. And he's having all these revelations and like realizing what a shitty person he was, and he feels so bad. It took you dying to realize what a greedy bitch you were? I don't sympathize with you at all. Like, what? Like, in the book, he was nice because he was like coming to all these realizations and being like, oh, maybe I should have been a better person. Yeah, maybe you should have. I don't like you. Like, I found it really hard to fucking sympathize with this dude. And then my second thing, I could see a lot of people really appreciating this book for all the conversations on grief that we are having, but I didn't feel a need for that in my life. I feel like I'm a little weird about death in general. I don't need to get into all that. Like, it just was a constant therapy session about grief and death and dying and what it means to die and what it means to live. And oh, it's just like over and over again. I was like, I literally just feel like I'm reading like therapy session notes just constantly. And it was kind of just the same realizations and the same epiphanies just recycled a lot. I just didn't connect with it at all. And didn't find the characters as precious and sweet and whimsical as House on the Cerulean Sea. So yeah, this one just was not for me. Like I said, I could see a lot of people loving this and being like, oh my God, it meant so much to me. The conversations about grief and death and dying and oh my God, and like it helped me through a difficult time. Love that for all those people. It was not me. And then my two least faves of the year. This first one, number 2 on the list, I'm glad I read solely for the fact that it was a buddy read with Andrew at Get Right On In, whom I adore, and it was our first like time really talking, and this was like our introduction to each other and really getting to know each other and becoming like really, really good friends. I love Andrew now, so I'm grateful to this book for bringing us together. But holy fuck, he DNF'd it, and I should have, but it's short, so I was kind of like, I'll push through. Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice. I gave this 2.25. I probably should give it 2. Just a miserable bitch of a book. Just, what the fuck? First of all, I just can't abide an entire book of some moody bitch just fucking talking about their philosophy on life, what it means to be alive, what it means to be dead, what does it mean to be a vampire? I don't know, let me fucking think about it some more and monologue about it some more and just blah, bitty, blah, bitty, blah. And like, I hate myself for what I am, even though I'm gonna be this way for the rest of my fucking, no. So that was the first thing that made it just not a very good time for me. Second thing was pedophilia vibes, sexualizing a literal child who becomes a vampire and is then like older, like lives life, but gets turned when she's a literal child. If I remember correctly, she's like 6, I want to say. Like a little kid. And sexualizing and talking about how even though she looks so young and so little, like her demeanor, her attitude, her, aura is so sexual because she's really older mentally, and so she acts like, this mature woman even though she doesn't look like it. No thank you. No thank you. I didn't like it. No shade to you if you like this book and that like didn't bother you and you understood that it was a fucking vampire child and that so it didn't bother you. Cool, great. It did bother me. It really bothered me. And then my most hated book of the year, technically I did DNF this, but I DNF'd it well into it. It was like a 900, 800 page book. I read like 650 pages of it. I only had around like 200 pages left, and I just fucking couldn't anymore. And that is Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I can't express enough how much I did not like that shit. And I really liked the first book, From Blood and Ash, or whatever the fuck. Really liked it. It wasn't like, oh my god, the best book I've ever read. But it was fun. It was a fun fucking adult fantasy romance with paranormal shit. A lot of the world building made like literally no sense whatsoever. It's fine. I didn't care because I was just having a fun time. And then the second book happened. I don't even remember the name of the second book. What the fuck was it? I don't know. And the second book, I was like, okay, for the majority of it, the main character, I wanted to DNF it a little bit because of her, but the other characters were saving it for me. And then the final, I think it was final 20% of the book, the main character finally stopped being the most annoying, dumb bitch alive. And I was like, okay, great. We're back. Book 3. Here we fucking go. And then almost immediately, book 3 just was a fucking disappointment. Huge disappointment. What the fuck happened? I mean, Jesus Christ. It had no business being that long, first of all. Secondly, these two fucking characters, the main love interests, could not be in the same goddamned room without some dumb, corny, immature sexual innuendo worked into their conversation. I mean, I'm not kidding. They couldn't say good morning to each other without being like, oh, is it a good morning? Do you want me to make it a better morning? Oh, you bet I would, you dirty, dirty bitch. Oh my God, don't talk to me like that. It gets me so hard.
Shut up.
Oh my God. It was so bad. So bad. It was the worst. And just so many scenes that didn't need to be there, that were just stupid as fuck. The fucking casserole. I will never forget the fucking casserole. I just hated every second of it, basically. It's just, they were just having repetitive conversations, too. We weren't learning anything new, really. And, and the world building was ass. Just absolute ass. And yeah, just the stupidest cyclical, repetitive conversations. Oh, I hated it. So, yeah, I read 600 some pages and just finally, I can't remember what it was that put me over the edge. I think, was it the casserole scene? I don't know if it was the casserole scene or something right after that, but there was something that just, a scene that put me, a conversation that put me over the edge where I was like, nope. I don't give a shit, and I read enough of this book to give it a 1-star rating. I read enough of it. I read 650-ish pages. That is enough to get a good fucking feeling for a rating. Fight me. I don't care. Holy shit, it was trash. This definitely will not be continuing with the series. There we go. Those are the least favorites for the year for me. Like I said, the first few I mentioned were they're fine. Nothing super wrong with them. But the top 4, for sure, definitely the top 3. The top 4. Heart of Fire, Under the Whispering Door, Interview with a Vampire, and Crown of Gilded Bones. All, on some level, made me a little angry. A little bit the fuck? So, yeah, there's that. What was your most disliked book of the year that you read? Let me know in the comments below. Or give a little emoji. As always, thank you so much for your time. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.